welcome to the Forked Greatsword video. As a disclaimer, there are some choices I made in here that were suboptimal. However, I am explaining them in more depth during the analysis portion of this video. So if you care and you wonder why I did certain things, I probably explain it at the end. With that said, we are going with the Occult infusion. I left on the default Ash of War. I've been kind of into just exploring the natural properties of weapons, so I just did that. I don't need to be super optimal all the time. I think that kind of loses some fun. I say that as I use Imped Elder to increase my arcane damage, and Raptor's Black Feathers so that my jumping attacks do more damage. We'll be using the Shard of Alexander, Claw Talisman, Green Turtle Talisman, and Erdtree's Favor +2. I would like to add, if you're going to use this weapon, I highly recommend you wear heavier armor than this so that you have a much higher poise, and even run with the Bullgoat's Talisman, or whatever else you need for your effective playstyle. For stats, we'll be going to rune level 125 as always, vigor at 60, endurance at 20, strength at 14, dexterity at 16, and arcane at 66. You don't need strength to be at 14 because you're two-handing it, but I like to put that in there just in case you want to have the option of one-handed. With that said, let's get into the fight. Unfortunately, the Forked Greatsword doesn't really have a whole lot going for it. Even its very prominent fork doesn't actually affect its hitbox in any way. It does have a normal Greatsword shaped hitbox. And when it comes to that hitbox, it is the second shortest in the Greatsword category. It's right above the Alabaster Lord's Sword, and the Alabaster Lord's Sword is the worst. This is the second worst in terms of range. So it's bad for a Greatsword, but it's not unusable because it's still long. It's important to note that the Occult infusion is not the best infusion for this two-handing. It is the lightning one, as that will let you do more damage consistently. But again, like I said in the intro, I wanted to respect its central properties, which is it has a bleed on it. I wanted to maybe see the bleed go off every once in a while. The damage and the scaling on it is also somewhat lackluster. I think it's important to keep in mind what this weapon's probable role was in the game, which was to be a greatsword with bleed on it that you can find early. The only really good thing I can say about this weapon is that it looks cool, and that's it. Up next is going to be, I think, a better version of this weapon, and that is the Flamberge. I'm looking forward to seeing you there. Thank you for watching, especially if you listen to my analysis, and goodbye.